out of curiosity, are you at this point, or have you in the recent past
been a member of the Communist Party?
No. Consumed any veterinary medicines, off-label directly from the shelf? Have you been to a bait and tackle shop lately and guzzled?
I went to Farm and Fleet, and aside from the amazing horse supplements that they have there, they also have a collection of bib overalls that are so big that
Sure,
you kind of just have to try them on.
right. Just so you can prepare for your job in case Ringling Brothers ever comes back, right?
Exactly. I mean, they're so comically large that my mother-in-law gets the giggle fits when she sees them.
Because they're,
and she is just a sweet, sweet woman.
And we're sure these aren't waiters. We're certain
they're clothes.
Okay,
for certain.
Well, in this particular instance, I would like to say that I myself, I have to admit, have not at any point in the recent, in recent history, in any measurable way, consumed any aftermarket substances from a veterinary clinic or the like. And I would like
telling us you ain't living.
I apparently don't know how to live. I also have never done ayahuasca that I'm aware of. Considering how weird I am, I suppose there's a chance that, as a child I was dosed in some sort of massive way against my will, but I doubt it. It's hard for me to, I guess I wouldn't know. To be fair.
How would you know?
How would you know? Because it would be me having been magically dosed with ayahuasca or something, looking through the eyes of me, wondering if I had ever, it would self-select out the reality that I would need to have a grasp of.
That snake would eat itself.
It's so hard to do that. Yeah. And for the record, both Joe Rogan and Alex Jones are guzzling ivermectin as we speak. Now there's something wholly different from Joe Rogan doing ivermectin and Alex Jones doing ivermectin and your average cuckoo go nuts maggot in the heartland doing said interesting chemicals. Do you know what that difference is? You know what the primary difference is between Alex Jones and
one is a lie and one is not?
Say again?
One is a lie and one is not?
No. I think they're both legitimately taking ivermectin or have. However, what's the difference? Well, between them and your average kind of Trumper in Cullman, Alabama, who might be taking it. Well, one is your average maggot is getting it from a feed store in a horse dose. And Joe Rogan and Alex Jones are both worth millions of dollars. Joe Rogan obviously richer than Alex Jones. Alex is still trying to figure out how he took an end run around them since they're both built like a fire plug and bald. He seems to think they should be on the same financial plateau. Yeah. The difference is that both of them have very expensive doctors. And the doctors they give them are giving them the most minor dose they could possibly give them for humans for like scabies. They're not getting the mega overdose that a lot of folks are taking that's making them sick and making them crap their pants in the grocery store, which is what it will do. It will give you...
That is just toxins leaving the body.
It's like those things you can buy that you put on the soles of your feet. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Like just slowly turn gray.
Yeah, like, oh my God, they're all getting out of me. It's so wonderful. And by the way, welcome to the show, everybody. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the House Park Radio program, Mega Worldwide, here on WCPT Radio, and of course, live streaming at infotainmentwars.com and at fwank.com. A lot went on this week, not the least of which, of course, is the Texas pro-civil lawsuit law went into effect, which will clog up their court systems, cost them millions, if not $1 billion and be totally ineffective. And GoDaddy has kicked the website that was going to snitch on everybody off of their platform. So they're going to have to go find another platform to put it in. By the time this is all over, the platform to snitch on people in Texas will either be run on a state level website. Somebody's going to try that, which will violate the Constitution and therefore shut it down, because these people are stupid and don't know that the law applies to everyone equally. Or it will be on the exact same server system that Stormfront, the Nazi website, has theirs on. You know, these kind of like rogue sites like BitChute and others have to put their stuff on, you know, these server farms in the Philippines run by the Watkins father-son team who were behind Q. So,
and also, isn't there like a HIPAA thing that comes into play?
Well, it seems to be that thing that they were all screaming about, that if you ask them if they're vaccinated, it's a violation of their HIPAA rights. But somehow snitching on somebody. And by the way,
unless you're pregnant.
Well, here's an interesting thing. And this is a curious aspect of things. Ultimately, everybody along the route of this law, and we'll get into more of this as we go. And this is and thank God that Texas Republicans are morons. Because if they were, it's kind of like I always thank my lucky stars that it was Donald Trump that they elected to carry out their kind of most, you know, impulsed nonsense. Because if it had been someone even slightly smarter or a little more low key, they might have actually got a lot of it done.
Stuff could have gotten done, yeah.
Right. But when it comes to suing someone, you know, through this mechanism, in the lawsuit, if the person answers, all they have to say is answering this lawsuit would be a violation of my HIPAA rights, and the doctor who performed the procedure would also have to say that. And so everybody else who's in the chain would have, you know, is sort of off the hook in that regard as well. So, I mean, there's a fascinating, you know, there are all
these. Like, it's a clever law until you really dig into it. Like, it sidesteps a lot of the things that keep it from just being shot down immediately. But then, given like 45 more seconds in the light, it's useless.
Well, I mean, even the presentation of it is a fetal heartbeat law. So, okay, life begins at a heartbeat. You're going to say that. So anybody who takes a life that has a heartbeat is in violation of this law, meaning even after you're born, one would think. When people go, well, that's covered by murder. Well, technically speaking, because this law has no provision for the health and safety of the mother or her financial circumstance, where a woman might have a therapeutic abortion early on in the pregnancy because she can't afford to have another kid, because she's impoverished, those kind of reasons. Well, now you can't shoot a robber or someone who you thought might take your life, because if there's no provision where the woman can save her life from a pregnancy that she has to carry to term, then why should you be able to shoot somebody who's robbing you?
Yeah.
That person has a heartbeat. A gun is an abortion machine. A gun store is an abortion provider. You are aborting a life that would have continued. All life is precious. We are pro-life. Like, it falls apart so easily. And because it's a civil law and it's about suing people for your interpretation of the law, and it can apply to anything, including, one would think, and I've talked about this a bunch this week, a little thing that a lot of us call COVID. Because let's say I don't believe in masks, and I think that you know, this particular you know, like, I don't believe in vaccines, and so I have decided that I am going to not get vaccinated.
A whole bunch of innocent people sick.
Yeah, and you do that, then what? Then, you know, now that you're getting, you know, you've got someone sick, did the person you knew, who knew you were an anti-masker and an anti-vaxxer, who gave you a ride someplace and dropped you off at school and all that kind of stuff, is responsible for everyone dead and everyone sick? And then it goes to, well, let's say the abortion law applies to a failed abortion, because there was a story in the news about a woman who took a, you know, tried to, terminate her pregnancy using RU-486 in theory. And in this, it would seem she damaged herself, but it did not terminate the pregnancy, so she's still pregnant, and she couldn't get the service in the state afterwards. More than likely, she will end up leaving the state, but the person will not be able to tell her that. So I guess at some point you could snitch on the whole internet, right? Somebody gets map directions, you're gonna sue Google Maps. I mean, it's absurd. But the idea is this woman tried to carry out an abortion, and it did not work. So she's now carrying that forward. I'm guessing that because she tried after 6 weeks, that this law would still apply to her. Was it attempted murder now? So, okay. So let's say someone attempts to kill you. Like it would take your life to carry this baby to term, and you tried to terminate it after the 6 weeks. So if you tried to terminate it, you're now potentially a murderer by this law, and someone can snitch on you. How does that not apply to you're being robbed? You are under the impression this person could kill you. You fire upon this person with your legally Texas provided preschool firearm or whatever they hand out. They hand out 6-shooters to children in Texas, right? That's the law. And you
with the protractor and
the you shoot somebody to protect your own life. Well, under the law, that doesn't qualify. You're not allowed to protect your own life under the Texas law when it comes to pregnancy. So why would it apply to robbery or home invasion, for that matter? I mean, people go, well, this person stormed into my home with a knife. Well, this baby was in my belly, and it was going to be born still and take my ability to have children with it. So my doctor suggested I get a therapeutic abortion. We didn't know this until 9 weeks into the pregnancy. Often the complications that take a woman's life don't show up until way later, till after this 6-week ban. So why is it legal? Why can't you just legally go on the snitch website, and anybody who's killed somebody in self-defense in the last 10 years is guilty under this law? I mean, it's so poorly written and so ham-handed that that's exactly what happened. We got to take a break. We went straight through that. I want to play the Alex Jones audio when we come back.
Please.
Because let's just be honest. Alex Jones is freaked out that a bunch of right-wing radio hosts have died from COVID, and he's in a panic. We'll be back.